you left alone the fitrah and you left alone the aql and you just followed somebody who's majhool. You don't know who he is.
How can, for example, they use verses in the Quran where say that the Jews and the Christians, they are judged by their works?
Yeah, because
What do you mean?
I'll give you an example. She refuted herself in that one because look, she disbelieved in Nuh and she disbelieved in Ibrahim. So how can she say we're gonna believe in Rasulullah? How can you be open to it if you disbelieve in your own prophets? So you cannot say that you truly believe until you believe in your book. So if you understand, believe in your book about Ibrahim, believe in your book about Noah, then you understand that if you look at them, then it's possible Rasulullah is a Nabi as well.
So how can you answer them about this verse?
Yes, that's it. I'm showing it to you. What's the verse? About
أيوة you speak Arabic. عندما قال الله عز وجل أن اليهود والنصارى يستطيعون أن يحكموا بالتوراة يستعملون
يحكم على التوراة بما أنزل الله.
يستعملون هذه. They say it's like if the Bible is corrupted, then why did the Quran says the Jews and the Christians they can judge by that?
Whatever they have from it, they don't believe it. There's clear verses in their book that says God is not a man. Yeah, clear verses that says do not worship anything that walks upon the earth or flies upon the air or swims upon the sea. Clear verses, but what they follow is unclear verses. So Allah is showing them, look, until you believe in what is known from your religion, not which is unclear. Believe the clear thing that you have, that God is one, that God is not a man. Believe in this, but you don't believe until you have this. So basically, they just pick and choose whatever they want. It's not like they're being consistent. Because if they're being consistent, they have to believe God is not a man. God does not change. God knows everything. But they can't believe that because it goes against the other belief, which is that Jesus is God.
I have another question. When it comes, for example, I had a friend who said Islam spread by so. And I told him which one. Is it like Islam a faith? You believe in the angels? Or Islam is like a charity? I told him because he said Islam in general. I told him for a faith.
Yeah. So we look at it like this, we have jihad from that is spreading Allah's religion that has conditions and rulings from the deen, and then we have history. So it would be wrong to say that everything that happened in history that a Muslim did is Islam. So we have to make distinction because we can't defend every Muslim because some Muslims are wrong. But what we can defend is Allah's religion. Because Allah's religion is pure, and we have the Muslims that can act in accordance with it or act in opposition to it. And when we look at the wider context, we see that everything was spread by the sword to some extent. How did democracy in Algeria, for example, there's democracy. How did democracy come to Algeria? By peace, they tickled the Algerians. No.
I'm joking.
Yeah, no, I know. But I'm saying for them to answer to them, if they try and say like, we spread it just by education. So, no, we know what's happening.
They separate the church from the state here.
This is modern. Yeah.
So that's why I asked him. I don't know, is it like a faith or is it for politics? Some countries, why so? Like North Africa, Middle East, Europe. And then some countries not. Indonesia, Malaysia.
Some countries.
For example, when the Muslims they really like engage in war with when? Which the reasons?
Okay, so firstly, there is da'wah that goes first. If the people accept the da'wah, then they become Muslim.
You make them da'wah for what? It's like you make them da'wah to embrace Islam, or you make them da'wah to like rule the country by Islam?
No. This is what the Khawarij try to do. Their main goal is the implementation of the hudud. Whereas if you look at the Anbiya, it was to rectify the heart first. Look what the hadith Aisha mentioned earlier, that the first call of the people was, if the first call was that they abandoned alcohol and abandoned zina, the people they would run from Islam. So what is the first call? Tawheed, Iman, correct Iman. This is what rectifies the hearts. So if you look at all of the earlier ayat, they talk about Aqidah, Tawheed, belief in Jannah, belief in Jahannam. And then if you look at the later ayat, they talk about Ahkam, rulings and stuff like that. So anybody that comes and first thing they want to say is, we want to implement Sharia, which is stopping the gangs and stopping drugs and stuff.
And gay marriage. And
all of this stuff. There might be some, there's some reality, some truth and some goodness in that. Okay, so we believe drugs is bad, alcohol is bad, we believe that. But for you to make that the start point, this is wrong. And this is opposed to what the prophets and the messages came with. The prophets and the messages, they came with Tawheed. And the Tawheed, basically, rectification of Allah, singling out Allah alone in actions of worship, both inwardly, on your tongue, and on your limbs.
So, for example, if like the country, any country in the world, they don't allow us to pray, or they don't allow us to fast, or they don't allow us to make da'wah to non-Muslims, then here we have to fight that country. Is it like that?
Okay, so if they physically harm the people that are calling, and this would basically them waging war on those kind of emissaries that are there, then it's looked into by the Muslim ruler at the time. If we've got people there inviting people to Islam, they're not fighting the people. Say for example they accept, then they accept. If they don't accept but they don't fight them, they said no, we're okay with Christianity, we're okay with Judaism, but you carry on with, we allow you to practice, then of course this is where you enter into peace treaties. If they don't allow and they fight and they kill, then any country, all countries historically, if you kill the emissaries, you kill the people that are ambassadors for that country, that is basically an attack on the country.
I didn't know, to be honest. I was completely.
So basically now, if we have a member of one country and his ambassadors are in another country, and what we see historically is that they will do like trade agreements and business deals and stuff like that. If that country then kills the ambassadors in it, that's a declaration of war. That's how it was historically. But of course, all of this is not for something for ignorant people to be talking about in a coffee shop. This is something for the scholars and for the rulers. This is not something, especially the subject is we can see the extremes that the likes of Anjam Chowdhury and ISIS and all these groups, the extremes that they went to. This is not a subject for that lay people enter. It must be with a scholar and the rulers. It's not something that the lay people enter. As for us, our call is what? Tawheed. This is what Islam teaches. In this country, the people allow us to give this call. We're not calling for the hand to be chopped off of the killer. No, look at the religion. You have a creator. You can just look at the signs around you. You can see you have a creator. Now this creator is giving you things that you're grateful for. Now based upon that, be grateful to him, acknowledge him, and look into the message of the Prophet. That's what we're calling to. And it's different, completely different from the likes of Anjam Chowdhury and the likes of ISIS and Al-Qaeda and all of these groups that start with the rulership. We're going to come for the rulership. Whereas if you look at the Quran, what it gives you if you look at the story of Musa alayhi salam, because people, what often happens, we get a lot of Muslims, unfortunately, they're saying that the rectification of the Muslims starts with the rulers, as opposed to starting with yourself. Allah mentions that you save yourself and then your families. Yeah, save yourself and your families from the fire. That's what the tartib is. Yourself, then your families. Whereas a lot of people now, they say, if we kill the rulers that we have now, then everything will be okay. But look at the story of Musa alayhi salam. Musa alayhi salam, is there any ruler that is better than Musa? Obviously all the prophets are on a certain level. We would love to have a ruler like Moses, peace be upon him. Now Moses was not given a land. There was no land from Musa alayhi salam. If you look at the story, Allah told him that he will die before he crosses the Jordan River and goes into Al-Quds. He wasn't allowed to enter Al-Quds. And the reason was given. That reason is because of the evil of his people. Not him, the evil of his people. But if we look at Yusha bin Nun was the disciple of Musa alayhi salam. Allah allowed him to cross the Jordan and gave him Al-Quds, gave him security in the land in present-day Palestine area. So what we see is that who is better? Question comes now, who is better? Yusha bin Nun or Musa alayhi salam? Musa alayhi salam was a Nabi and a Rasul, but Yusha was just a Nabi. Which one is better? Musa, of course. But why wasn't he given the land, but Yusha was? Because Why was he keeping it? Because the people of Yusha, they had the tarbiyah of Musa alayhi salam, meaning they were raised upon Tawheed. But the people of Musa, they said to Moses, make us a golden calf, like the people of Pharaoh. So that shows that the rectification of the Muslims starts with the bottom up, not the top down. And unfortunately, we see these groups like Anjab Chowdhury's groups and whatever name they give themselves.
They love the media. They love them.
They love them. Why did I love them? Why did I love them? It makes money. Yeah.
What about, for example, there is verses in there. Some people they say that these verses that actually for that time and there is a context of it. So they say, I'm sorry. Yeah. They say, well, if they are for that time, why they are there? Yeah, why they still there? What's the point we have in them today? They still in them today. It's like, can we use them today?
Yeah. So basically, every nation, they have a number of things at their disposal, and nobody's really going to blame any nation for having any one of these things at their disposal. They are at peace, they are at war, or they have client states basically. So these things that the ruler has at his disposal and these verses, it's not like that they were only applied then and they're not applied now. Because if you really look at them in context, you'll see that if there was a legitimate battle, I'm talking a legitimate battle, not like what these people claim, a legitimate battle, then of course the ruler has to have a guideline on how to fight.
So if there is like a situation today which is similar to the original like situation, then you can use it.
This is for the scholars and for the rulers to derive that ruling, but this is the guidance for them to follow. Yeah.
Why if there is no rulers?
There is no ruler, then there is no jihad. How can you do offensive jihad if there's no ruler?
Okay, well, what's the definition for a ruler according to you?
Whoever is, not according to me firstly, according to Ahmed ibn Hanbal, whoever is established over the Muslims. Established over them.
That's a Shari'i ruler
according to Ahmed ibn Hanbal. Whoever is established according to them.
Sure?
Yeah. Okay, obviously Muslim and established over the Muslims, yeah.
Okay, what happens if somebody wants to throw him out?
Then
throw him out of the power.
So firstly, it would be haram for that first group, and Rasulullah said, if there are two people fighting for position, you kill the one that's making the claim. Obviously, the first one is established, you kill the one that's trying to remove him. That's what Rasulullah said.
If he throw him?
If he did throw him and he becomes established by the sword, then he still is controlled, yeah. But he has to be established. Not that he's still ongoing fighting. Once he's established with the... Assalamu alaikum. Okay, I'm going to finish soon anyway, I'm going to wrap up. But once he's established and he's Muslim, and it doesn't mean that there's still fighting ongoing. It means once he's established and he has power, then he's a legitimate ruler.
So, according to you, this is only jihad, yeah?
What do you mean?
So, the jihad would only be applied when it's this scenario, when there is a ruler.
Okay, so jihad has many meanings, yeah, as we know from all of the Sharia. So, for example, to get out of Fajr in the morning, we know this is a form of jihad. But if you're talking about a defensive jihad, where somebody comes into your house and tries to kill you, of course you're allowed to defend yourself. But if you're talking about a nation conducting a war on another nation, of course this is not something that we have like these insurgent groups, these insurrections and these people going out and doing. This is like any other nation, they have to have, this is based upon a rulership, government. This is how England operates, this is how all the Muslim countries, every country operates like this. It's not something that is strange or specific to Islam. The ruler, he must be there. You can't just go out and then, so not everybody is equal in their levels of knowledge.
Yeah, but what happens when defending?
No, defending is different now. Because defending... the defending is different because you have to defend yourself in some circumstances. If a man comes into your house, I don't need to ask the permission of the ruler before I can go and defend my family. This is different. Yeah?
So what about the jihad? Because they say there is two.
Yeah, this is what we're talking about. The offensive. The one is defensive. Then again, I'm not going to say that I can remember all the references references off the top of my head, but again, we refer back to the people of Sunnah that are well established, the well established scholars in this field. So from today, the likes of Sheikh Fawzan, Sheikh Al Fawzan, Sheikh Uthaymeen, Sheikh bin Baz. Some of them are dead, but I'm talking about the people to understand who are the people that we refer back to these affairs in this issue. They were from the likes of Al Albani, the likes of bin Baz, the likes of Sheikh Uthaymeen, and the ones that are living today, the likes of Sheikh Saleh Al Fawzan, Al Mufti, Abdul Aziz Al Sheikh, Sheikh Saleh Al Sheikh, Sheikh Rabi bin Hadi Al Madkhali. All of these are the scholars that we refer back to. Sheikh Muslim Al Abbad, Sheikh Saleh Al Hiddan.
Because if all these things happen in Saudi, for example, Yemen, yes, I would agree with you. But if it's somewhere else,
No.
in Africa,
Referring back to the people of knowledge is not something that is you can say is not practical.
No. I'm saying in this regard.
Yeah.
In terms of, you know.
So, for example, if a country in Africa wanted to seek a ruling, they would go back to the trustworthy people, wherever they are. If there is no people in their land, yeah, I'm talking about trustworthy people that have understood the methodology of the early Muslims.
I mean, defending, because his question was about defending.
Yeah.
Defending, you don't really need.
But okay. So when it's happening right there and then. Obviously, I'm not going to say that you need to go back, but to understand the rulings of this, I'm talking about, because I'm saying I don't know the ins and outs of all of this. I'm talking from the very little that I do know, and I'm not a scholar or anything, or student of knowledge or anything like that. I'm just a Muslim working man. Yeah, but people think that because we speak about Islam, that we think that we're not scholars. Yeah. So barakallahu fiqh. So, but this is for so you just mentioned. Yes. Yeah. So here in Obey the Muslim ruler, even if he was a Habashi client. So these are the guidelines for here in Obey the Muslim ruler. This is like well established.
Criteria for this as well.
That
some criteria.
Such as. If he's Muslim and he's not following the guidance of Rasulullah and he's not following his guidance nor his sunnah, he's beating the backs of the Muslims and he's taking their wealth. Rasulullah still said to him and obey them. Not following his guidance and not following his sunnah. Unfortunately, what we have people today, they made it a condition that he must be righteous. Rasulullah said the opposite. Hear and obey whether righteous or sinful. And I'll just mention the state that we are in as Muslims today. That Rasulullah and the Salaf, they understood from him that from the usul of Ahl Sunnah, from the very fundamental beliefs of Ahl Sunnah, is that you hear and obey the Muslim ruler whether righteous or sinful. And from the usul, this very same usul, if you look at Barbahari, the Sharh al-Sunnah al-Barbahari, Usul al-Sunnah Ahmed bin Hanbal, Sharh al-Sunnah al-Muzani, all of these books, Aqidat al-Qarwaniya, Ibn Abi Zayd al-Qarwani, you see all of these books from the early Muslims, the Salaf, they will say that it's from it's an asl from the usul of Ahl Sunnah that we hear and obey the Muslim ruler, whether righteous or sinful. Their speech was very precise. They never just said hear and obey them, whether righteous or sinful. What they mean and what they don't mean, okay? But they also said that it's from the usul of Ahl Sunnah that we speak against Ahl al-Bidah, that we refute the people of innovation. Nowadays, what we have...
Why if the ruler is one of these people? For example,
so I'll go into this, inshallah, but just to understand what is the usul of Ahl Sunnah. So from the usul is that we hear and obey the Muslim rulers whether righteous or sinful, as long as they're Muslim and there is no clear-cut open kufr, and we don't obey them in haram. If they say drink alcohol, we don't obey them. Okay, that's from the usul. We'll carry on this because if it's going to be mentioned, we don't want to leave out some of it so people misunderstand our words. So from the same usul is that we speak against Ahl al-Bidah. Now what we have with the groups like Ikhwan al-Muslimin that have become widespread all across the Muslim lands and across the Muslim peoples is that they flip that sunnah on its head. So now you cannot speak against Ahl al-Bidah, you have to remain silent against Ahl al-Bidah, but you must speak against the ruler.
Show me where they say this.
Okay, so for example, the principle that we gather upon what we agree and we do not speak about what we disunite. You're aware of this principle? Okay, so Rasulullah and the Salaf understood them. They understood that we speak against Ahl al-Bidah. Yeah, okay. So we speak against Ahl al-Bidah. Whereas this principle is that we agree that there is no prophet after Rasulullah. So we agree on this, but the Asma wa Sifat of Allah we differ on.
There's a lot of Ikhwan Muslimin would refute things like this.
Okay, but I'm talking
What
about.
you saying is generalizing it is wrong.
I'm talking about the principle.
Now
If
stop
you're-
this so we can talk properly.
No. If you're gonna say that there's Ikhwan Muslimin that don't say it, then I'm talking about what is the principle that Ikhwan Muslimin
So
they
show me
walk
from their
upon.
books.
I don't have their
Where
book,
they say-
so I don't have it in my pocket.
Inkar Munkar is there. The Ikhwan Muslimin. Ikhwan Muslimin, they believe in Inkar Munkar.
Yeah, but what do they understand by it? What they understand by it? What they understand by it, for example, this principle is known and widespread amongst them. You just agreed to it. That is that the Ikhwan Muslimin came with it. That we remain silent upon what we differ upon, and we unite upon what we agree upon. This is falsehood and is very in all levels.
Where do they say this?
I don't have the book now, but this is a well-known. This is well. This is. You don't think?
I don't think
فيما
what
اتفقنا
you're
فيه
saying.
ويعذر بعضنا
Barakallahu fiik, barakallahu
I
fiik.
don't think what you're saying is true.
Okay, that's fine,
If you
that's
don't
fine.
have any evidence, then it's not going to be accepted.
That's fine. I didn't know I'm gonna.
I'll tell
I
you
didn't know.
something.
No. Well, I'll let you speak.
Can I
I'll let you speak. I
finish?
just want to address that point before you move on to another subject. Because you
No,
also,
I'm not moving to
but you
that.
also asked me as well. You also asked me as well about the rulers. What if they are Mu'tazili or whatever? This needs to be addressed. So I need to address these things. I can't just move here. So, with regards to what you said, if you do some research, I don't have the references of my. I don't know I was going to get into a conversation on this. Okay, if you do some research and it's not hard, I can provide you with the references where to look. If you do the research and you do find that this is a principle from the principles of Ikhwan Muslimin, would you believe this to be incorrect?
Sorry.
Would you say that? Would you agree now that this is incorrect? If Ikhwan Muslimin said it, forget this. Whoever says it, would you agree that this principle is incorrect?
I mean, it depends.
It depends. Okay.
It depends, yeah.
كان
Because
شيء
hold on.
اخوان المسلمين for ربيع بن هادي المدخلي شيء اخوان المسلمين you can Google it and search for ربيع بن هادي المدخلي.
I need to explain why I said it depends, but carry on.
Yeah, so you can find the reference for
Find what?
اخوان المسلمين the past and now. What the difference?
Yeah.
How they change.
This is one of. I would say.
Very much. Okay, this is
I'll-
against you. Okay, this is against you.
Asbel is Sufi.
This is no, hold on. This is against you and him. Okay, because when you say Ikhwan Muslimin say this, and now you're telling me
Yeah, you can
there is
قطب, you know.
there is all
في ظلال
Ikhwan Muslimin,
القرآن
there is
قطب.
new Ikhwan Muslimin. That's against you. You
No,
understand?
في ظلال القرآن تفسير القرآن. You speak Arabic. لو انك تلاحظ قول قطب تعرف قطب في ظلال القرآن تفسير القرآن كثير من تفسير القرآن قد أخطأ بالتفسير بالقرآن الكريم
خطأ يخرج من
كثير من الأخطاء وكثير من التأويلات هي تأويلات مبتدعة
Who
وتأويلات
says this is
صوفية.
kafir? Who says this is kafir? Nobody says that he's
No,
kafir.
he said he's for
Akhtar is not kufr. It's not saying he's
even the
kafir.
sheikh that he mentioned the
يقال إنه هو تاب
Of course,
he mentioned
even الصحابة هو أخطأ. So خطأ is not.
the Prophet mentioned if this principle was in their books, do you agree with this principle?
I would need more details, but
you agree with
okay, hold on. As Muslims, okay, I know for a fact that Inkar Munkar is one of the basics in their beliefs. Okay, as Muslims, I know this for a fact. Okay, they do have Inkar Munkar. They do talk about wrong things. They do talk about a lot of
Wrong
bidah.
things like
They do
what?
things.
Like
Okay.
what? Like,
They do talk about a lot of things.
So if your definition of munkar does not, so for example, if you say we talk about munkar,
Now you're asking for more details. You
Yeah,
see my point?
yeah, yeah.
When he said
Yeah.
if I was going to show you, I would ask you for more details.
that's fine. That's
Tell me
fine.
Then I can agree on this.
It's fine. But I'll give you an example just to understand why.
I'm not a fan of saying by the way, but
Let's understand this. So, for example, if your definition is that we remain silent on each other's innovations, yeah. If we have differences in aqidah, we're gonna remain silent, but we all agree that khamr is haram. We all agree that riba is haram. If you look at the Salaf, what they said, Sufyan al-Thawri, for example, he said that shaitan, he loves bid'ah more than fisq. Because the fisq, all of us we're going to make tawbah from it, inshallah.
We know
We know it's haram, it's clear. Whereas bid'ah, we think that we're coming closer to Allah with it. So shaitan loves bid'ah more than fisq. Obviously, we're not saying that every fisq is the same as every
Are you
bid'ah.
telling me most of the Ikhwan Muslimin shuyukh, they don't talk about bid'ah?
Okay, so for example, we look at a clear example. Allah's names and attributes. Okay, if the principle of Ikhwan Muslimin is that the Ash'ari in Aqidah for the most of them. Okay, we're not saying every one of them.
Most of the Muslims.
Most of the Muslims, yeah.
For you.
Yeah. If you need to now provide a delil for that. Most of the Muslims, because I'm not just gonna accept. I'm not gonna just accept that most of the Muslims are Ash'ari. If it's true and you can provide proof, I'll accept. But I'm not just gonna accept it for the sake of this discussion.
حسن البنا يرى أن التعبد بالمذهب الجعفري والمذهب الصوفي هو جائز، وهذا خلاف السنة، لأن المذهب ما بنى على الصوفية وما بنى على التشيع هو يناقض مبدأ القرآن الذي هو القرآن بنفسه، ويناقض مبدأ السنة لنفسه بنفسه، ويناقض مبدأ السلف وما فعل السلف وصفات السلف، وكلها يناقضها تماما. حسن البنا الآن ما يؤمن به هو أن التعبد مذهب المعتزلة أو مذهب الأشاعرة أو مذهب التعبد به. التعبد هو التقرب إلى الله عز وجل. الآن إذا
التعبد كيف؟
التعبد
عن الصلاة ايش قاعد تتكلم؟
نعم، مثلا التعبد في
التعبد بالمذهب الصوفي ايش قاعد تتكلم عن ايش بالضبط؟
من التقرب للقبور ودعوتها للأموات. الآن من أروح أذهب إلى قبر وأدعو صاحب القبر هو القرب إلى الله عز وجل.
عبادة عندهم يعني؟
هو تعبد أصلا. نعم هو من تعبد.
شوف أنا ما رجعت للكلام الأصلي.
عفوا أنت تتكلم عن معنى التعبد أم تتكلم عن الصوفية؟
أنت قلت التعبد بطريقتهم كان مختلف. أوكي الصوفية يتعبد زيك يصلي زيك يصوم زيك ما يصوم زيك؟
هو ما عرف الصيام.
ما يصلي زيك؟
عرف الصيام.
صيام رمضان.
يعرف.
ما يصوم زيك؟
هو يصوم انه يقطع عن الاكل صح؟ بس من يفطر؟
هو يقصد التعبد على مذهبه، يعني مثلا احنا عندنا احناف وحنابلة وشافعية ومالكية. طيب الشيعة لا لا شك.
الصوفية يتبع مين؟ الصوفية
خلنا على الجعفرية. خلنا على الجعفرية.
شوف الجعفرية والصوفية لا
خلنا على الجعفرية.
اوكي يلا
طيب الجعفرية لهم مذهب خاص، يعني عندهم مثلا في صلاتهم في عباداتهم في صدقاتهم في كذا. طيب هم عندهم عباداتهم. هو ينقل عن حسن البنا يقول يجوز التعبد بمذهب الجعفرية، بمذهب يعني مثلا عندنا مثل مذهب الحنابلة هو يدخل الجعفرية في مذهب في دائرة
مثلا تعبد في مذهب العباس. مذهب العباس صحيح.
فهمت اخي؟
تعرف مذهب العباس؟
انت قاعد تتكلم عن مسائل فقهيه لا لانه لما تقول لا لما تقول انت تعبد مثلا لا الاختلاف في طريقه الصلاه هذه مسائل فقهيه. مسائل اجتهاد
اختلاف في
can you please explain it to him? Yeah, it's too much difference. لا حبيبي هذه مسائل فقهيه. مسائل فقهيه تحتمل مسائل فقهيه تحتمل الاجتهاد.
احنا ما نتكلم عن مسائل فقهيه، احنا نتكلم عن مسائل اعتقاديه.
نتكلم تعبد.
نتكلم عن تعبد هو مسائل اعتقاديه مو مسائل فقهيه. التعبد
انا عشان كذا سالتك انت قلت لك الصلاه
العباده توقيفيه.
لا صفه الصلاه كيف؟
صفه الصلاه
ايوه
هي صفه الصلاه.
المذاهب الاربعه تختلف كيف انت تصلي كيف تشهد.
لماذا شنو يختلفوا المذاهب الاربعه؟ مثلا اعطي مثال يختلف المذاهب الاربعه.
يعني في مذهب يقول لك تحط اليد في مذهب
هذا الاجتهادات. اجتهاد في العقيده.
ما في اجتهاد في العقيده.
اوكي so now we have the Asha'ira.
بس لا hold on. What he said about Sayyid Qutb, he said Hassan al-Banna, he said that Hassan al-Banna says you can worship Allah. You can worship Allah according to the Sufi way and Jahfari. Okay? So worshiping Allah could be through praying, could be through siyam, could be through yeah, I agree. That's why when he said this, I asked him for details.
No.
What I told him is a masal fiqhiyya.
Can you say this now about Jafari Shia, that now we can pray to Allah the way they pray?
No, of course, me personally no.
Okay. Can we say now that
there is similarities then?
If there's similarities, then we get them from the Sunnah. We don't get them from. So now, if we say that we can,
but anyway,
we can differ in aqidah. Whether you're Ash'ari, whether you're this, whether you're that, is this okay?
Difference in aqidah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big topic. You have to go into details.
Okay, so when I say aqidah, I don't mean in the furu' of certain branches. I'm talking about, like the brother mentioned, Tawheed, who do you supplicate to, also the names and attributes of Allah. Does Allah's hand mean power? The names and attributes, how the Salaf understood them. Okay. So this different, the Salaf never allowed it. And the Rasulullah told us that خير الناس قرني ثم الذين يلونهم. These are the best generation. They didn't allow different. The Sahaba didn't allow different. The Rasulullah said every bid'ah is an innovation, every bid'ah leads to the hellfire. So if they didn't allow this, how can a later group come and say different in Aqidah? They allowed different in Aqidah? They said that so
عقيدة no مذهب.
I'm not talking about the branches.
discuss عقيدة.
Yeah.
حبيبي الأخوان المسلمين كثير من علماء الأخوان المسلمين يدرسوا مسائل العقيدة.
كان عقيدتهم صحيحة. عقيدة الإخوان المسلمين صحيحة ولكن مذهبهم خطأ.
نحن اوكي.
Even this,
العقيدة هم عقيدتهم توحيد صح. نقول هم مشركين لا. ولكن هل هو عقيدته صحيحة إن يتبع السلف في مسائل أحكام الإسلام في مسائل الجهاد؟
ما يتبع السلف؟
أصل إخوان
ولا اسماء الصفات عقيدتهم مش صحيحة.
لا هو يقصد هم مسلمين أي مسلمين.
لا هم موحدين. There's no way to make
الصفات.
we're not saying the kuffar.
أما في
الأسماء والصفات are they all the same?
Are they all the same? Because they firstly, so we have the founders of them, they were Ash'ari in Aqidah. The founders of them. The majority of them, they continue to reverse upon Ash'ari in Aqidah. Or we're going to have some people that's influenced by their political opinions, but still have the Aqidah that the Salaf had on paper. We say that this is the new irja'. That on paper, you are Salafi, but in your actions, you are with the Ikhwani, and the Ikhwani by default, you're with your Shia brethren, all of these things. So we say that this, Sheikh Rabi mentioned that this is the new type of irja'. On paper, you say yes, Allah is above the heavens. But in your actions, we say we are with Ikhwan Muslimin, we don't differ. This is the new irja', this is a new type of irja'. So what I would advise you to do is look at the books of the Salaf.
To be honest.
What books of the Salaf are you aware of? I'm not trying to test you. Wallahi, just if off camera we want to discuss it, but okay, I'm going to rephrase that. What I would say to you is go to Sharh Sunnah of Barbahari and see how Barbahari believed. Go to Usul al-Sunnah of Ahmad ibn Hanbal and see what he believed. Go to the Aqidah of Ibn Abi Zayd al-Qarwani and see what he believed, and he's basically transmitting the Aqidah of the Aqidah and the fiqh of Medina. And this is the fiqh and the Aqidah of Imam Malik.
Just 1 second. Yeah, because we're talking about the Ikhwan Muslimin. You know that there is basically the Ikhwan Muslimin, they're not all one time.
But they're not
all one understanding. Okay, even if Hassan al-Banna.
So what defines a person of Ikhwan Muslimin? What defines them?
It's just they've got politics.
Yeah, and what is their politics?
They're interested in politics.
Their politics is that it's like basically Jumhuriyah, that we gather all the people and we remain silent upon.
No, remain silent. That's where I disagree.
So
remain silent. That's where I disagree.
So
they are Muslims.
So what I would say,
there's Hanbali people of one Muslim. Do you know that?
Yeah, but they're Hanbali on paper. Not Hanbali.
When you say on paper, hold on. When you say on paper, that's not for you to judge.
No, I can judge by the actions.
How do you know by the actions?
Because Hanabila historically, these were the people that practiced the Sunnah.
Is it all the Hanabila?
No, not all the Hanabila. We're talking about, okay, let's talk about what Ahmad ibn Hanbal is upon. Did Ahmad ibn Hanbal, was he a person that sat with Ahl al-Bidah? Did he say that us and the Shia need to have unity?
No. Okay, stop. No, because when you make it very, when you give me this example, when you say, did he sit with someone who says we are one, unity with Shia? No, you're making things very complicated. I wouldn't be able to answer.
So the last thing that I'm going to say, Ikhwanis.com. Check references, go to Ikhwanis.com.
Listen, brother, my advice would be